Hey everybody, this is Erica, the technology nerd likes to film stuff, and I just finished watching the Apple event, the announcement of the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus, and kind of just wanted to talk about what I am seeing here, give some first thoughts, some first impressions. Now, I know a lot of people were not really expecting much of anything because this thing has been leaked and leaked and leaked, and people were more interested in iPhone 8, but actually I'm quite happy with the set of features that we have on this iPhone. I feel like it's finally kind of competing with flagships like Android flagships. I feel like Apple's finally jumped on that industry train, trying to put some features in that people have loved from Android phones, but for some reason they've neglected them. So the first one is water resistancy. We now have IP67, 1 meter for 30 minutes. But I do see in Apple's disclaimers that if it does get water damage, that they're not going to be covering that by warranty. I think that's standard. It's nice that we have stereo speakers, so there is a speaker on the bottom and also the speaker that's right here coming through the receiver, so not really truly stereo in terms of top and bottom, but we do have two speakers. There's going to be a left channel and a right channel, and that's nice. I'm excited for that. They're finally giving more than 16 gigabytes of internal storage. I don't know why for so long they've decided to stick with 16 gigabytes, but now the baseline is 32 and the next one is 128 gigabytes. There's no SD card slot still, but that works. That's more storage than I'm ever going to use. And of course, they now have a better camera. So finally, the small version has optical image stabilization. That is really going to be nice. So it's now stepped up. Also, we have an f1.8 aperture lens, so it's a wider aperture. You're going to have more light. Also, the optical image stabilization is going to help with that wider aperture for low lighting, so you should get better results in low lighting. The Plus version of the phone has a telephoto lens, and that one actually is a 2.8 aperture lens, I believe. So that one's not 1.8. I believe they are both 12 megapixels. And the idea here is to be able to zoom in and out. So 2 times optical zoom and 10 times digital zoom. We've got 4K video, and it's at 30 frames per second. Some people were seeing it rumored that it would be 60 frames per second, but looking at the spec sheet, it's indeed just 30 frames per second. They're also saying the images are going to be taken in a wider range of color. And also later in the year, we're seeing that Apple is going to implement some really neat software that's going to allow to have a really nice shallow depth of field that keeps the foreground nice and sharp and then looks at the background and knows to get that really nice bokeh. But that's not going to be released just yet. And so with these images that have a wider range of color, they're also saying that their display is going to have a wider color gamut as well. They're specifically saying that it's going to be DCI P3, that's cinema standard. I'm sure Apple has a little bit of their own standard mixed in there somewhere, at least what I'm seeing with the iPad Pro. So when you're looking at these images, you should see a wide range of color, wider than what we have right now, which is sRGB. That is the standard that's over the entire internet. That's the standard that we see for consumer content, even DVDs when we get them. So if you have this wide gamut display, if you view content that's not meant for this wide gamut display, it'll just way oversaturate it. So what Apple also is saying they're going to be doing is having color management as well, which is really great. And if it works well, you'll be able to see internet content and it won't look terribly oversaturated or wrong. If you have pictures that are meant for sRGB, it will map that properly inside of that DCI P3 color space, and it will look right. So most things should still look like other iPhones because content is sRGB. But for things that are wide gamut, it should meet their standard. I have to do measurements and check this all out for myself, but I think that the prospect is exciting. They also have a couple new colors here. So we've got a black version, which is just a matte black, and then there's also jet black. But I've looked at their specs, and they're saying that you can expect to have microabrasions, or microabrasions might happen. So with the really shiny one, if you are somebody who's really anal retentive about scratches, you might just want to go for the regular black one. This is where I'm going to take some time until Friday to figure out what I want to do. It's definitely between one of the black models for me. Of course, we have better performance, but in terms of all phone performances, we see that iPhone just simply kicks butt. Apple really knows how to optimize software with their hardware. It's a very closed down ecosystem, so they can do that. So we should have a really nice, well-performing phone, but all iPhones in the past have been in their respective times as well. Of course, there's improvements of iOS 10. That's coming out the 16th of this month? No, 13th of this month. They say that we're going to have a little bit better battery life. So for the 7, it should be 2 hours more. And for the 7 Plus, it should be an extra hour. So we'll see how that pans out. And a super nice point is that even though they have neglected that earphone jack at the bottom, that is now gone, they are going to include adapters in the box. So that's good. They're not going to force people to pay an extra $70 for an adapter just to have the privilege of using your own earphones. They really want to push people to use their AirPods. I don't know if I'm gonna actually care about that. Also, let's not forget about their new home button, which no longer presses inward. Instead, it is now solid state and works alongside their Taptic engine. So, like their Force Touch, you should feel a nice vibration feedback. Phones like my OnePlus 3 have these solid state type buttons, although I don't have any type of vibration feedback. But as a home button, also a fingerprint sensor, it works really well. Pre-orders are supposed to open up on Friday, and I will definitely be getting mine. I will get the Plus model. I don't know if I'm going to get the smaller one for reviewing purposes. It doesn't look like it is anything necessary. I am bummed, though, that the smaller one still only has the equivalent of a 720p display, or just a little bit more than that. They're really not stepping it up on the resolution. 1080p is okay at 5.5 inches. I am getting really used to having Quad HD. But it's not a complete deal breaker. That's what Apple is including. What can I tell you, people? Is it a worthy competitor compared to something like the Galaxy Note 7, which is what I am filming on right now? Well, sure, I think it is. I really like Apple's ecosystem. I have tons of Apple products myself. I carry around an iPhone and an Android usually. I like them for different reasons. I kind of think of my iPhone as old reliable. I like that I can film video and edit video on this. There are some game titles on here that I like that I don't have on Android. That kind of thing. This is kind of my escape where I kind of use Android more for work. I'm glad that the iPhone 7 is pretty much competing, at least in some features, with a lot of Android flagships out there right now. But it's really going to be your decision for what you like individually. So this is all I want to say for now. I will be waiting for pre-order. This has been Erica, the technology nerd likes to film stuff. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Is this the iPhone for you? Are you just going to be waiting for iPhone 8 and this is just feels like a distraction to you? They're offering just enough of an upgrade to get you distracted. So let me know and have a good day.